Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am answering all of your questions. Alright, so you're probably not new here if you're watching this video. Thank you so much to any of you who asked me a question. If you didn't, make sure you follow me on Instagram. That way next time I do one of these, you'll know it and you'll be able to ask the question. I put a call out on my Instagram in my stories where you could ask me anything, and I got a huge list of them from you guys. You guys did really good. They're very thoughtful, interesting questions. I also put a post up on my communities tab on my YouTube channel page where you could ask questions there as well, and I got a nice handful there as well. So yeah, let's just get right into this Q&A, and I will answer your most burning questions about me. Question number one is, when did you meet Gianni? And actually someone asked this too on YouTube. I think it was like, how did you meet Gianni? So we can handle both those at the same time. I actually met Gianni in high school, but we weren't really friends, like kind of, but not really. We were acquaintances. I mean, I'm pretty sure we signed each other's yearbook and like I knew of him. We were friendly, but we definitely didn't hang out in the same circles. It wasn't until long after we had graduated that he actually ended up becoming my roommate through another mutual friend, and that's how we got reacquainted with each other. So yeah, we knew each other in high school, but we're not high school sweethearts. All right, next is, what are your pet peeves? I don't know. I feel like generally I'm a pretty agreeable person. I guess I'm very annoyed at people who have very strong opinions about something that has not been researched. And that's probably just because of recent things. And like, if you're a human who like has a Facebook right now, like, you're lucky if this isn't a feeling that you get all the time. But people who just post things without fact checking them, like, it could take you 30 seconds to just like Google if like that killer spider that you're warning everyone about who's killing small children is like real. You know, you could just Google it. You know, I guess that is a big pet peeve of mine. People who post things without just like Googling it first. All right, next is favorite meal for the rest of your life. Okay. So normally I would say my favorite food is pretzels, but if I had to pick like a meal, I would go with macaroni and cheese, because I think you can do a lot of things with it. You can have like a good like velvety, expensive cheese lobster mac, or you can have like some Velveeta mac and cheese. They're both good for different occasions. I think macaroni and cheese would be like, if I could only pick one thing, while not nutritionally sound, there are a lot of ways to do that differently that are all quite delicious. All right, this one was really good. It says, world is ending. What do you have in your backpack for your survival? I don't know. I would say like practical things like a phone, maybe like a solar battery charger. But if we're talking like sentimental things that I want to make sure that like I have, I would say a camera. I think like it's important to like document things, and like if I'm not going to be a person that saves the world, then at least I can document like what's happening to it, however it's ending. So that might be something, and who knows, you know, we look at like bones and fossils today, but people are going to be looking at our like footage and our media 1,000 years from now, like to know who we were. So I think that would be good. All right, next is, what have you been doing to stay busy during quarantine? Well, quarantine for me has like two parts. The first half, you know, Gianni and I were both home. It was very stressful. I wasn't sleeping. I was crying every day. Gianni then loses his job. We don't know what we're gonna do. My unemployment wouldn't go through. It was like panic the whole time. And that was very stressful, and I definitely made masks to deal with that stress, because it felt like I was helping solve the problem. So that really helped me. The second half has been a lot different. I've gone back to work now. Obviously things have changed how I do my job. I'm a dog groomer, so that has changed a bit. But Gianni now has his new job. Things are going to be okay for us in the like the non-COVID issues of our lives. So now we just have to focus on like staying healthy and you know, following all the precautions and stuff like that. So I feel less of a need to stay busy now because I'm back at work. Our schedule is kind of back to normal. But I would definitely say mask making all the way. I may have even neglected lots of other duties because I mentally just needed to mask the world, to mask my own panic. This is a good question. When's the last time you cried and what was the reason? Okay, yesterday, I got a comment on one of my videos about my birth story. I had a traumatic birth experience with Fox. It's not something that really comes up for me that often unless I have to go to a hospital. Then sometimes that can be a little triggering, but usually it's not a huge problem for me. And yesterday someone left a comment on that video I made. I made a video explaining the whole story, and it was a very lovely, nice comment. You know, I'm sorry you went through this. And I was sitting here alone and I just thought, you know, I haven't watched that video in a while. Like, I was there, I gave birth to him, I remember all this, but for some reason, I decided, maybe it was because it was a long time since I made the video, so in my brain I'm thinking like, well, what was so moving about this video that people really react very intensely about that video? So I thought I'd re-watch it, and I just watched myself crying while telling a sad story about myself, and then I cried. And then I went and hugged Fox and just was gushing to him how much I love him and how much he matters to me, and he was like, go away, get away from me, Mom, you're weird. Next question is, where do you work? I am a dog groomer. I work at a small kennel and daycare facility that also offers grooming. I work with a couple other groomers. I'm in Michigan. I'm not gonna give you like the name of it just for safety reasons and all that, but that's what I do. I've been grooming for a decade now, which is crazy, and I'm really, really good at it, so there you go. Next, what would you have named Fox and Desmond if they were girls? That's a great question. Fox, we didn't even have any girl names picked. My like best friend's mom is a psychic, and that's like a whole other story, but she knew I was pregnant before I did, and she told me it was a boy, so we said we're gonna name him Fox. That's the name we always wanted to name him. And then my ultrasound just confirmed it, and we'd never even thought of a girl's name. When it comes to Desmond, I was like certain Desmond was gonna be a girl, so I had a lot of baby names. I actually have like a girl baby name video. I will leave it down below if you want to see like some of our girl names, but I was really like hell-bent on the name Windsor because I think it's like a dope name. And there's a lady on NPR named Windsor Johnston, and I was like, oh, I love her. I want my daughter to be named Windsor. Windsor, Berlin, probably, because Berlin is my favorite city. All right, this is a fitting question. Next is, where did the kids' names come from? So Fox, we got the name Fox from Fox Mulder from X-Files, and Desmond came from the TV show Lost. So we're TV people, we are. Please tell me an embarrassing story. Okay, when this popped up, I was like, should I tell a super embarrassing story? And I decided I'm gonna tell you the most embarrassing story of my entire life, like of ever. And if you're someone that knows me, you totally know what story is coming because it like defines the embarrassment of my being. So, as I mentioned before, Gianni was my roommate, and he was actually my roommate for 2 years before either of us had enough guts to tell each other how we felt about each other. So this was a very confusing 2 years of my life where I'm like, I think I'm in love, but I don't know how to tell him, and blah, blah, blah. And we were living in this house that I owned. It was a duplex. I lived in the front. I rented out the back. So he lived with me up front. And he had a friend who wanted to rent out the back apartment. So I wasn't feeling good. I don't know if I hadn't like eaten anything that day or drank anything. I just wasn't like feeling good. And I'm like showing them the apartment. Gianni's with me, and I'm just like, wow, like I don't feel good. I was like, I need to go outside and get some air. And there's like, you know, it's like a porch that's like attached to the back of the house, and it's not a full flight of stairs, but it's like a half a flight of stairs. And I go out, and all of a sudden I'm like seeing little stars, and my vision just pinholes. And I've never fainted before, so this is the first time I ever fainted. The only time I've ever fainted. And it's just like, I just like pinholed, and like all of a sudden I couldn't see anything, and then everything was gone. And I fainted, and I fell all the way down the stairs, and I landed with my face in the mud and just my whole butt out in the air. And I didn't know any of this because I come to consciousness with Gianni tapping my face. And this is before we were together, and I had all these feelings and all this stuff. So I was very embarrassed about this, that, you know, he woke me up and he's like, oh my God, are you okay? Are you okay? And, you know, he got me up and he walked me over to the other side of the house and got me something to eat, something to drink, and he took really good care of me. And I was like, you know, gosh, that was embarrassing. Well, it gets way, way worse. So the next day, I'm walking to my car, and I guess I should preface this with saying that the day before when I fainted, I was wearing a dress and I wasn't wearing any underwear, because that's a thing I do, or I did sometimes. So I'm walking to the back where my car is, and my next door neighbor, whom we share a driveway with, was just sitting out, because that's what he did. He was like the guy that just sat in the driveway all day. I don't know what he was doing with his life. And he just said, "You're lucky your boyfriend was here to cover up your ass." And I said, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, maybe next time before you faint, you should put some underwear on." And like, I feel like I'm turning red just thinking about this, because all of a sudden I get in my car and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, number one, my whole butt was out with no underwear of any kind. Number two, the neighbor saw all of this. Number three, Gianni ran down those stairs, flipped me over, covered me up so that the people looking at the apartment didn't see, and then he never ever said anything to me about it to make me feel bad. Like, he didn't know that I knew this had happened. So I like wanted to die on the inside. Like, I was like seriously dead. It's like that feeling where you're just like, oh my God, no. And so I wanted to like call him or like talk to him and say like, well, thank you for doing this for me, but I didn't want him to know that I knew that he saw my bare butt in the air. And I was so embarrassed, and it was horrible. And even now that we've been together for like, I don't know, 8 years, we've been, you know, together a really long time, I still feel the shame and embarrassment of that day. And of course, eventually we did profess our love for one another, and I really knew he was a really good man after that. But that is my most embarrassing story. Embarrassing AF. The most embarrassed a human can be. I'm blushing just thinking about it. What is the craziest thing you have ever done? I want to point out, this is my father who wrote that. My dad asked this question. But I guess, I mean, there's lots. It depends on who you are, what you think is crazy. I mean, I did a lot of traveling when I was younger. I had friends who live in Berlin, so I would go to Berlin with them, but I would book a layover in another city. And like, there's been times where I've just been in like Paris for 36 hours or Amsterdam for 24 hours, like completely by myself. And this was a time before smartphones, because I'm that old. And so like, I would just be in Paris with like a big paper map by myself with no phone, no way to be contacted, no nothing. And I would just figure it out, sleep on a bench, go look at some stuff. And now looking back on that, that was pretty crazy, and I would freak out if my child did any of that. This is a good question. Are you guys planning on staying where you are or moving closer to Gianni's new job? So far, we do not want to move. Gianni's job requires a lot of travel anyway. So like all over the state, sometimes all over the country. This new job he actually has several international opportunities as well. So we have sort of decided that we'll wait a year, and we'll kind of see how much travel there really is, you know, and if he has to drive all over Michigan, then it kind of doesn't matter where home base is, really. I love this question. What is the best meat fish at Aldi? So obviously I am the Aldi queen. I don't buy meat there anymore. I don't eat meat anymore, but I do eat fish, and I do buy meat for my husband. So I actually have never had meat or fish that's been bad from there. I always find that everything is fresh and high quality. I do love, sometimes they have really, really good deals on chicken legs. You'll get one of those red stickers that's like half off or $2 off or whatever, and you can get the long, like fresh chicken legs that are like, I don't know, $2 or $3 for the whole tray. So anytime I see that at Aldi, I always grab them. They have really good frozen seafood. They do have some fresh that's good, but I hardly ever spring for the fresh seafood. You know I'm on a budget. I go to the frozen seafood. I've been buying their Alaskan cod there that's like frozen and prepackaged, and I really like that. I've also had good luck with their shrimp. Every once in a while they have on special like the Argentinian shrimp. Whew, those are so good. So yeah, all of it is usually good, but definitely the cod and definitely the discount chicken legs. Oh, I love this one. How is your friend in San Francisco making out? Okay, so actually he's from Los Angeles, and I love that somebody just even remembers him. So my friend moved to LA like a couple years ago, a lot of years, like 5 years ago, and that was really hard for me because I love him a lot. But it gives me an excuse to go out to LA every once in a while. I did do like a full vlog of an LA trip, and I will leave that video down below if you want to see who Deshaun is and what we got up to in LA. Actually, it was very disappointing because I actually had a trip all booked and paid for and ready to go for May, and I had to cancel it because of the old Rona. So that was super disappointing. And yeah, I was gonna go to RuPaul's Drag Con, and I was really, really excited. But he's doing well. He works in like the IT field, so he can work from home. So it's a little bit easier for him to stay safe than some other people there, but he's doing good. All right, and here's the last question, and I thought this was a really good, thoughtful question. How do you feel about sending kids to school in the fall with the big C? So we have opted as a family not to send Fox back to school in the fall. He has an October birthday, so he could go to kindergarten or he could go to preschool. And we just decided like it's not that like detrimental to his learning if we just don't do it this year. It's all really complicated because even just the fact that I have a choice whether I want to keep him home or send him is like a total privilege. There are so many people I can't even imagine, like, trying to figure out what the heck they're gonna do. Like, we got jobs, we've got, you know, stuff. Like, that's really, really hard to plan. And it's also a massive burden on our school districts to try to figure out how they're gonna do this. And I just feel like I'm in a very privileged position that I can keep him home. I will be here 5 days a week. And the other 2 days that I'm not, they go to my parents' house. And I have that opportunity, so there's no reason for me to take the resources that the school really needs and like maybe take that from another person who really needs their kid to be in school. So I think it's just like a personal choice. I don't even know. It's a hard choice for a lot of people to make. I just know that I can, so I will, so that we can make room for somebody else who maybe can't. All right, so those were all the questions. Thank you guys so much for asking me all these interesting questions. They really sounded like things you like really wanted to know, so I think that was pretty cool. I think this was a pretty good video. I'm glad that we did this. All right, so of course, remember to, I don't know, hit that subscribe button. You definitely are my subscribers if you're watching this whole video. But even so, thank you so much for subscribing to me. I'm getting so ridiculously close to 5,000 subscribers, and you can look forward to a special celebratory video when that finally happens. So tell all your friends to subscribe if you want that to be closer. And with that, I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!